Hello everyone, this is the Underdoll, aka the German Viking, and after being quite busy with just life in general, I came across this clip actually this morning, and it boggled my mind when I heard this clip. Now there are two clips. I don't know if I'm gonna address the second one, but I just want to take this 2 minute clip from Collider Live where Kristian Harloff is basically ranting and telling everyone that he should have gotten an invitation to from Star Wars, from Lucasfilm, to visit Galaxy's Edge. And before we just dive into this, I just don't get that entitlement. These people are so entitled that they expect to be invited to these events. They expect to be on premieres, to be the first ones there, and that they deserve personal contact, courtesy, and everyone else just needs to get in line and accept and pay for this stuff. Um, let's just dive into the clip before I just can continue ranting. So, what did he actually say? Let's roll the clip.
I'm going to address this once and then be done with it. So Frosty, Heidi, and Frank this morning, and we laughed because they said they're giving away tickets to Disneyland and Galaxy's Edge. And today I walked in and Roka's like, "Oh, here we're going to talk about Jedi Council. Was like, do you want to leave with this or Galaxy's Edge?" I go, "We're not talking about Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
Not talking about it. I'll go, you know what I'm going to talk about Galaxy's Edge in 2 years when I go.
Yeah.
Because am I a little butthurt? No, I'm a lot butthurt.
Yeah.
Business sense, to where arguably the Star Wars show itself is the show because that is the Lucasfilm approved Star Wars show, and that's the show. I think that Jedi Council has been one of the leading Star Wars voices for the last 5 years.
Oh boy! I just have to stop here because there's just so much stuff he's saying. So he says he's a lot of butthurt. So he expected for him to get a call or a ticket or whatever to be able to attend this. And then he now claims he will not do his job and talk about it. So the only reason you're talking about these things is to get attention, acknowledgement, and access. Is that what you're saying, Kristian? Now, first of all, I respected Kristian Harloff when it comes to Star Wars. He reads basically everything, so props for him for that. But he also gets a lot of that stuff for free. And I just think for someone who has a podcast what did he say? Lucasfilm approved show. So he basically talks the way Lucasfilm approves. So there's no Last Jedi bashing. There's no criticism towards Lucasfilm on what they're doing. They're not talking about how Solo was a bomb, how Kathleen Kennedy has screwed up, how the production of Solo was a disaster, how the production of The Last Jedi was a disaster, where they basically used the draft script for the goddamn movie. He says his show is the show for Star Wars, being the leading Star Wars voices for the last 5 years. How this just comes off as shillish. This sounds that this guy has no integrity. Now, there is context to this, but just listening to this alone, it just sounds as this guy is talking the way he does, promoting Star Wars the way he does, getting access the way he does, so he can get the approval of Lucasfilm and get to the premieres, like Galaxy's Edge. That is not what you're supposed to do as a journalist, as someone who is supposed to inform consumers, in this case Star Wars fans, and now you're even refusing and you won't talk about it on your own podcast. And this makes business sense, but they already had Collider cover this. And you won't cover it on your own podcast, even though it's kind of a topic. It just comes off as someone who has been shilling for years, and then they've basically told you, well, all your shilling is just a good business for us, but it's we don't care about you. That's what Disney is for everyone else on the planet. They are a business that only cares if they get paid for whatever goddamn product they produce. If you were really meaning what you were saying, you would just boycott Galaxy's Edge and be done with it. But you won't, because you are a Lucas approved show. So let's continue with this clip.
So I was confused, and this is, and I want to make it clear that there's a different branch that between like the marketing, like there was a writer, a freelance writer from Collider that was brought, and then she brought another writer from Collider. Jedi Council was not invited at all. So reached out, said, hey, we really would like to promote it, we'd like to talk about it. People who don't do any views on YouTube or
So
on very
nobody
small
YouTubes
sites yesterday.
Yes to what I said. You asked to go and they said no.
Well, originally I did not. There was just no invite that came for all the media, and then I just followed up once and said, "Hey, so yes, but
Did you get a response?
no." And so then I said, I'm not following up again. But I also said that I just don't. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go as a fan, and I'm going to enjoy it, and I want to go. But I'm not going to promote it anymore.
What if
I'm not
you-
going to talk about it. I'm thinking more business sense than anything else too. If you know that there's all these shows out
Okay.
there, and like the sites are out there, why wouldn't you invite?
You're not
Jedi
thinking
Council?
in business sense, though.
I am though,
Yeah.
because there's another reason. I don't want to report on other people's reports. I don't want to say like, well, Jermaine Lucier, who goes to fucking everything, he reported on this, so
But
I'm
if
going to
you-
go off his report.
if
No,
you had
no,
been
thanks.
invited and you-
Guess what? I'm not. I've been busting my fucking ass being a Star Wars fan for 5 fucking years.
I feel
on
the
show.
same way about-
I've been called shill. I get screamed at.
Okay, so where do we actually start with this? So. He talks about Jedi Collider, Jedi Council wasn't invited. Okay. But this is the problem. So he didn't get an answer. So he feels he's entitled to an answer. That's striker number 1. And then he basically strike number 2 is, why should he promote it in the first place? Why the fuck are you promoting Star Wars? Now I get that you can talk about Star Wars in general, but why the fuck did you just admit that you want to be there to shill for Lucasfilm and Star Wars? Are you serious? There is no ethics in this. There is no integrity in this. He just straight out says he feels entitled, and it makes business sense. So now he's basically trying to use a fallacy, basically trying to say, well, we're so big. Basically, showing how the ad populum fallacy, and it would make business sense. Propping himself out, showing the arrogance. Again, that's strike 3. You're basically saying you're a front for Lucasfilm as a hosting, as someone who produces videos. And then you say you busted your ass for 5 years. Shouldn't that be saying something? You basically defended Lucasfilm for 5 years. And this is what they think of you. for shilling for them. And now you are surprised that people raise an eyebrow after when people called Collider and everyone out for basically everyone on that The Last Jedi review panel praised it to the goddamn sky. And now you're surprised when your shilling hasn't turned out the way you wanted to, because you didn't get the access you wanted to, and you're surprised. This is such I'm just speechless. I am speechless. He goes on, I've busted my ass for 5 years. So why didn't Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers he loves Disneyland. Why didn't he get an invite? Why didn't Ethan Van Sciver? Why didn't World Class BS? Why didn't Jesse Milestone, Anna that Star Wars girl, Odin from Odin's Movie Blog? Why didn't anyone else? Why are you so special? Because it's the legacy media, Shill media, and you, for once, didn't get brought in to Shill, which you've just admitted to, for Disney and Lucasfilm. It's just, it's mind-boggling that these people don't see why people have an issue with them. This is the same people like John Campea who have shilled and shilled and shilled for Disney with Captain Marvel and with The Last Jedi. These people who only want access to show on their Instagram who they met on the red carpet, when if they say the right things, this is why they're becoming irrelevant. John Campea has been passed by people like Geeks and Gamers because their opinions are getting irrelevant. So let's watch the ending of this clip, which is it's beautiful. It's just beautiful.
So let this one, let me be a fucking shill for this one. Let me go and experience this fucking thing. And maybe I don't even like it, but I wanted to go.
I completely agree.
I wanted to go. And the fact that it wasn't even, it would have been a thing, you know what, I would have still covered it? If they wrote back and we said, we're sorry we missed you on this one. Our spots are all full at the moment. Thank you for promoting us in general.
No response.
No response. And it's like, fuck off.